everybody. Thank you for joining our new location. We'll start off with everybody rising and do a flag salute right there. All the flags right overhead.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Welcome to our new meeting place, the lovely Dana Adobe Cultural Center. Thank you to Jim and your board for allowing us to be here. The only advice we have would be to please don't wander out on the grounds. They're not open for business out on the grounds. If you want to learn more about it's a great place here. There's lots of boards here. There's brochures back there. And you're welcome to let us know a little bit about the place if you'd like to. Yeah.
I'll just say a couple of things.
Sure.
Thank you for noticing the different flags. That's actually the current United States flag.
Okay.
These two represent, one is when California was captured as a territory of the United States from Mexico, and the other one is when California became a state. So you're going way back in time this way, but that's the real US flag. And we're thankful for all of you being here on board. And we have lots of events coming up, so I hope you all can consider coming back. We have hiking, we have speaker series, we have Wind Down Wednesday next Wednesday, if you're interested, up at our vineyard. And one of our residents here, her husband's going to be speaking next month about the migrant mother, which happened on the other side of Oakland, and the real story behind that. So there's lots of history in Nipomo, and we hope you come back and take it in. And welcome, and we hope you come back many years.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And just for information, the event is actually being broadcast live as we speak, so we're getting with modern times. Thank you very much for doing that for us. We'll start with a roll call next then.
Okay. Harry Walls.
Here.
Robert Washington.
Here.
Daryl Sisk.
I'm here.
Russ Hobbs. Tom Gerard.
Here.
Rose Kay. Here. Jerry Bridge. Carmen Morales Ward. Here. Gary Spellring.
Here.
Stephen Vines. Pat Duron. Richard Wright.
Here.
John Joyce.
Here.
Excellent.
All right, thank you. So I have no correspondence from the chair. We can roll right into Jamie. Did you have a presentation for the group, or are you just here to answer questions?
I'm mostly here just to answer questions.
Cool,
But,
right on.
do you want to do our public safety update first, just so
Yeah, that's fine.
we can let our
Cool.
sergeant get back on
There he
the
is.
road?
I just see him. There he is.
Very sneaky. So from last year compared to this year, last year there were 772 calls per service. This year it's up a little bit at 779. Of those, there was 11 for assault battery, 4 misdemeanors, 7 domestic violence. We had 69 disturbance calls, 4 burglary reports, 2 in a residence, 2 from a vehicle. 8 theft reports, 3 were grand theft, 5 were petty theft. There were 3 vandalism calls, 1 meth theft call. We had 85 calls for service for assisting other agencies. 11 suspicious circumstances called, 10 were suspicious vehicles, 4 were, 10 were suspicious subjects, and 4 were suspicious vehicles. There were 123 traffic stops, or ped stops, bike stops. All that resulted in 29 arrests over the month.
Any questions from the council?
Yes, sir.
Sergeant, are you aware of how the fire started in Oso Blackwell?
I'm not. Yeah, I have no idea. So.
And would those numbers be a downward trend, an upward trend, or?
So it looks like the number, it's actually, I mean, it's not very much. There were 7 more calls for service than there was last year. So as far as like the specifics, for each different type of call, I don't know if it's up or down.
All right.
And I'm sure going into summer, things will start to rise up a little bit, but it's nature of the beast, so.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Thank you, sir.
All right, folks, have a good night.
Thank you.
All right.
Russ is here.
Russ is here too.
Russ is here.
So we have no CHP, no CAL FIRE. So we'll see if, did you want, or are you good? Or
Yeah, no, I'll provide a couple of quick updates.
James?
Right. Well, good evening, everybody. I'm James DeFranco. I'm Supervisor Paulding's Chief of Staff, and I don't have a whole lot to update on tonight. Just going to hit a couple of quick items. The big one that I don't think I got a chance to share the last time I was here, since I wasn't here at the last meeting. But the big news for Nipomo being that the the Sheriff Substation project in Nipomo, the long-awaited Sheriff Substation project, was fully funded by the Board of Supervisors last month. This project is something that's been envisioned for the community for over 30 years, and it's finally going to be coming in 2027 and 2028. So we're very excited to see that moving forward. Currently, the Sheriff's Office has a report writing room here in Nipomo, but as far as where all of the deputies have to dispatch from, aside from patrols, is that at the the Oceano station. And that's the only station we have in the entire South County area. So from Oceano all the way out to Cuyama, that's the closest spot that we have. And Nipomo is, as we know, is like the largest unincorporated community in the county. It's growing, desperately needs its own station. So having a station in Old Town is going to be a huge amenity for response times, and also a place for the community to go report crimes in public. There's going to be a community meeting space, similar to kind of what we have at the library. So just another amenity in the community. So we're really excited about that one. Let's see here. The county is currently going through the budget process right now for the 2025-26 fiscal year. As you may or may not have heard, like a lot of governments across the state and across the country, we're facing some fairly significant structural budget deficits. We're looking at closing a $40 million gap this year, which is much larger than we are normally used to facing. What that means, and I can go into some of the reasons why that is, but ultimately what that means is we're going to see a lot more cuts to programs than we have in past budget cycles where we've had to make cuts. A large number of the cuts are going to be coming out of the health agencies, that's our behavioral health department and public health department, because those departments receive the highest percentage or a significant amount of our general fund. Other departments that receive a lot of general fund support are CAL FIRE, County Fire Department, and Sheriff's Office. And so we're really, because those are the highest priorities of the county, maintaining those funding sources as much as possible is part of the difficult balance that we're having to make in ensuring that we're still continuing our public safety funding. But the other impact that you're going to see is that a lot of nonprofits that rely on grants from the county are going to be that funding is just not going to be available come July. And so you're going to see more nonprofits kind of probably going out to the community and asking for support from community members. So please encourage you to think about that. If you're able to support these nonprofits that are doing good work, that they're going to be asking, and there's legitimate need and a deficit there that the county's just not going to be able to fill, at least for this upcoming fiscal year. And just, I guess, just so I can highlight a little bit some of the reasons for the structural budget deficit that we're facing at the county. The big reason is, as we know, costs have been rising for everybody. For those of us, inflation has impacted all of our personal budgets. In fact, it's also impacted the county's ability to provide services. It just costs us a lot more to do the same services that we have been doing continuously. And then the other big reason is that there's been a big drop off in one-time funds. So if you remember, it felt like, now it feels like a decade ago, but just a couple years ago, we were anticipating Diablo Canyon to close. But now Diablo Canyon, of course, is continuing its operations, at least for the next few years. But when Diablo was scheduled to be closed, we got a bunch of one-time funds from the state in order to help offset some of the loss in tax revenue. Well, that tax revenue is not kicking back on for a whole host of reasons. It's way too complicated. It goes way over my head. But the point is we're not seeing that increase in tax revenue coming back into the county, even though Diablo was extending operations. And the one-time funding we got to try to supplement that loss is also drying up. We're reaching the end of it. And then same with like some of the COVID relief funds that we got, we've expended all of those. And so for those reasons, we're looking at, in addition to just rising costs at the budget deficit that we are. But the good news is that by cutting 40 million from the budget from this upcoming budget cycle, our administrative office and our CIO are really projecting a lot of confidence that we're going to no longer have to make annual budget cuts. So for the last, I think, 8 years, we've had to cut from every department every single year. We're hoping that next year we're going to actually be able to be stable, if not grow again. But we have to go through this kind of rough process to start in order to balance the budget now. And then I mentioned a few of these items real quick. I'm just making a quick note as far as a weed abatement ordinance. Some of you have kind of been curious if the county is going to be doing anything to try to, from a fire protection standpoint, be enforcing stricter standards, either defensible space standards around your home, that kind of that clearing, kind of like we're seeing here around the cultural center with kind of this cleared out space that protects your home from catching on fire. Defensible space or weed abatement, those are ordinances that the county has been working on now for some time. I've been told that that's going to be coming in July. Originally it was going to be April, but now it's coming to the board for consideration in July. And then we also have a updated fireworks ordinance and enforcement strategy. I'm told that that's still coming May 6th. The agenda hasn't published yet for May 6th, so I'll believe it when I see it, just because a lot of these have been shifting around. But that'll be an opportunity for those in the community that are wanting to see a more robust fireworks enforcement strategy from the county. We're going to be having a good discussion on that, as well as some new enforcement tools. For example, if right now, in order to cite somebody for illegal fireworks, a deputy has to see that person and identify them and then issue them a ticket. With this new fireworks ordinance, if somebody is shooting off illegal fireworks from their property, we can get video evidence either from a drone or from other types of surveillance techniques that we can identify the property where the illegal fireworks have been coming from. We can issue a citation through the mail to the property owner. So the idea is that you have to be responsible for illegal activity on your property. Of course, we're going to have an appeal process. So if you're like, hey, that wasn't me, or somebody got on my property. But the idea is we want people to have more responsibility over trying to prevent illegal fireworks for a lot of reasons: peace of mind, fire safety, etc. And then the last thing I'll just mention is that we're incredibly excited about the kickoff of the Nipomo Community Plan Update. And we have Claire here, who is our lead planner, who's going to be talking more about it in a few minutes. So I'm not going to spend too much time on it. I'll just say that as the South County Advisory Council, we are really, really hoping, Supervisor Paulding and I are really hoping that you'll be really involved in the process, not just participating in it directly, but really encouraging other people in the Nipomo community to engage in it. We really feel like this is going to be a key opportunity for everybody who lives and works in Nipomo to really get excited about the community, about the future of Nipomo. I don't know if you spend a lot of time on Nextdoor or Nipomo neighbors, but there's just kind of a lot of negative energy in there about the community, and we really want to use this as an opportunity to say, no, let's talk about what we can do, where we can go, all the potential that Nipomo has and the great things that are already here and how we can make it better. And so for those of you who, again, we're going to have our first workshop, which Claire's going to talk about, so I hope that you're able to make it there, participate in our online surveys. But again, just hope that it can be kind of part of our sort of the cheerleaders for the effort and advocates for the effort, and just really encouraging people to participate in it, because in order for it to be a really good program and project and the plan to be strong, we really want robust community engagement. So we do feel like you have an important role to play in that as leaders in the community and the service role that you play here on the Advisory Council. And so I'm not going to talk any more about the community plan update, since I'm going to leave it to Claire to do that, but I am available for questions if anybody has any.
Do you have a question? Yeah.
I'm wondering what your expectations are for Prop 19 revenue, property tax.
I don't have any information to share about that off the top of my head. Can you kind of elaborate a
Prop
little bit?
19 is where people have to live in the house they inherit, or they don't get the homeowner's exemption anymore. So property taxes for certain people that sell their home or or someone dies,
Mhm.
the property tax, you can't keep a homeowner's extension, you have to pay full property tax. For instance, the property across the street here, 6 acres, is paying $153 a year in taxes. It's been inherited 8th generation, and we had $1 million fire here. So,
Yeah. In Prop 19, that's also the one where you're allowed to transfer your property tax if, from another county if I think you're over the age of 55, and also if you're a fire victim,
it's
disability.
about inheritance, but, a lot about inheritance, but
But
yes,
that, yeah, it
I'm
hasn't.
not sure that Prop 19 addresses the
Mhm.
one where you can transfer, but it could be.
If that is indeed the same one, I can say that the county is absolutely a net loser on Prop 19, in that we are seeing a huge loss in property tax revenue because we are such a desirable place to live and a desirable place to retire that people are moving from they're moving from another county, transferring their lower Prop 13 tax rate to our county than when they otherwise it would have reset when they moved here. And I don't know what the exact figure is. I believe it's in the tens of millions of dollars that we're potentially losing because of Prop 19 on an annual basis. But I would be happy to look into that for you.
A lot of
And
people are not taking care of their property, and then we get paid for the fire problem.
yeah, and this is, unfortunately, we have a very convoluted tax structure here in California, and it makes it difficult for us to be able to provide all the services that we need to provide to the people that live in our communities.
Harry?
Will you be able to talk about the structure of the meeting on the 5th? It's a pretty small room.
It is, and we do have a strategy for if we get a bigger crowd, and Claire's going to talk about that, I'm sure, when we get to talking about that. Yeah, the community plan update.
All right. Thank you, James.
Thank you.
All right, so, Mr. Joyce, anything from the NCSD to present to us, talk about?
No, I don't believe so.
Okay.
But thanks for welcoming me to your board.
Well,
And
thanks for being here.
yeah,
All right.
I'll try to have something for you next month.
All right, so we're off to the public comment section of the evening. This is, if anybody has anything they want to talk about that's not on the agenda, you're welcome to take the podium, and you have 3 minutes, and you can have your say. Help yourself.
My name is Grayson Idle, relatively new to the area, aware of Prop 13, aware of Prop 19, and I'm sorry, but, it is sort of beneficial sometimes to save a little bit of dollars in your pocket, so you'll get it from me eventually. But what I'd like to know, and if it's quite possible still to put it into the forum, the building forum of the data preserve, is that the children are being bused out for the middle school, miles and miles away, putting way more cars on the road, 2-lane road, possibility of an accident. It really needs to be put into the plan for middle school on the property that they're going to be building all these houses. They need a middle school. Do you guys sort of understand that? The middle school is 15 miles away. I don't think you guys would like to go to school 15 miles away, even 20 miles away. Okay,
Oh, definitely.
all right, thanks.
Thank you, sir. All right. Anyone else? All right. Yes, you're a member of the public.
Okay. Just really quick, I'm just gonna make a comment, just to, as everybody knows, our Animal Services Department is located on the other side of the county, which is on Oklahoma Avenue, way out there going almost toward Morro Bay. I know we're in a budget deficit, we need money and all this stuff, but we really could benefit from something here in South County that is something, because we have a lot of animals in Nipomo, especially a lot of animals that get loose and things like that. We really could use a substation animal control or something on this side of the county. It's just so far, way out there, that by the time they do call animal control, I know that they come around here, and come out here, and usually the animal's gone, or something happened, or it got killed, or it's on the freeway. But just a comment, maybe fresh on people's minds, maybe something that we might consider for the future, or in our Nipomo update for our planning, maybe. I'll go to the next meeting, I promise. But just a thought, food for thought, that we could really use some kind of services in that area. Thank you.
All right, so we're on to our consent agenda. We have two things on there, the approval of last month's minutes and our treasury report. Has everybody had a chance to look them over? Not much, pretty straightforward. Anybody have a motion for acceptance?
I'll make a motion. I'd second it.
Tom, Carrie, and all in favor?
Aye.
And opposed? All right. Now we're on to the fun stuff. Our new business, the Nipomo Community Plan Update. Claire, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. It's really excited to be here. Thanks for having me down here. Able to take a little bit of space on the agenda tonight.
Is that my phone? Can you check real quick?
You just need to flip the switch on the speaker.
Flip the switch on the speaker. There you go. There you go.
Thank you.
Yeah, I've had a long day. I can't talk too loud right now. But yeah, thank you. My name is Claire. I'm a planner with our county's planning and building department in the long range division. Long range division doesn't focus necessarily on use permits and building permits. My coworker Lane Sutherland, who's your liaison, he's usually here to talk through those things. But in long range, we go big picture, looking at housing policy and resource conservation policy in our county, etc. And so that's why I get to be here tonight, is because we have a Nipomo Community Plan update on the horizon. We're starting it right now. Supervisor Paulding has really pushed for Nipomo to get some attention in that direction. I think the large sentiment that our department has heard is there's been a lot of interest in developing the Nipomo area, but the infrastructure and the resources need to keep up with that. And so that's really what this Nipomo Community Plan is all about. And so I just want to give a high level snapshot of what this update is, and also give everyone the opportunity to figure out how to get involved, because we have a lot of opportunities for that over the next year and a half. So rather than this being a huge, comprehensive, open up the books in every single chapter of the 1994 community plan, this update over this next year and a half is extremely focused on identifying where does the community need some improvements in terms of infrastructure, services, facilities, animal control perhaps could come up through that process. It's really focused on, okay, what does the community today see as a need, and how does the community want to fund that, and how fast do you want that to happen, and what should our action plan be forward on the county's behalf. And so it's really going to be led by community input, and we want to know what your community wants, what you and your neighbors think Nipomo needs, and how to get there. And so really James brought up, our first community workshop is this Saturday at the Nipomo Library, May 3rd, from 2:30 to 4:30. The community room, as I think Harry noted, it's not huge, but we will have some outdoor space available. The library is allowing us to use their outdoor space to accommodate overflow if that happens, or if you attend and you don't have 2 hours to give, there's a way for you to participate. And so at this first workshop in a series of 4, we're going to be talking through the community's vision for what do you want Nipomo to look like, and how can the built environment and the infrastructure, the services reflect that vision. So that's really what this first meeting will be about. But if you are not able to make it this Saturday, we are debuting a community survey that's going to be online and coming on live this Saturday as well. And that will be open for the whole month of May. So please tell your neighbors and your grocers and your friends and family, the people you go to church with, tell everyone in the community you know who lives and works here that survey will be available for everyone. And that's where we're also gathering input on what do you want as a community and how do you want to get there. So that's, again, community workshop is this Saturday. Community survey goes live this Saturday and is open for the whole month of May. And then our second workshop is actually going to be here in this room, which is going to be really exciting. And we're still settling on a date. It'll either be the end of June or the middle of July. And that meeting is going to be a follow-up from the first. So in the first meeting, through the survey, we identify what your community wants. In that second workshop, we're going to talk about funding and how your community wants to fund those projects. What matters to you? Let's prioritize the projects and the funding, because if we can't do everything that is needed in Nipomo right away, what should we prioritize? So again, really focused effort. I have some flyers here that anyone can pick up at the back of the room. I also have my business card if you want my direct contact. But that's really the update in a nutshell, and I'm really excited to partner with your council and try to get people involved, because this is only going to be as impactful as the community, as we get community input, and we want this to be a meaningful update. So thank you. I can stick around for any questions if you.
Do you have the website address that we can go for the survey?
Yeah, so again, the survey goes live this Saturday, and you can access it at slowcounty.ca.gov, G-O-V, and then /Nipomo update.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And another way to stay up to date thanks for bringing it up first, is our website. We're going to be updating things there, but also on the website, you can sign up for periodic email updates from me. So I'll be email blasting people all the time about this is what's going on, this is what's next, how you can get involved, and that's a great way to stay in contact. The Planning and Building Department also has a Facebook page. It's County of San Luis Obispo Planning and Building. And we have an Instagram page, which is Slow County Planning. So you can find us on our social media. If you didn't write all that down, that's also on the website too, those addresses.
Carmen?
Will the survey also be in Spanish?
Yes. Thank you for that question.
Any questions for Claire?
Can I add to that, actually?
Yeah.
We're also going to have staff members that speak Spanish at every workshop. Everything we put out there will also be in Spanish, because that's who's in the community. We want this to be meaningful for everyone. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Claire.
Thanks.
So then just a potential rescheduling of our meeting next month due to the holiday. Is everybody up for moving into Tuesday, the day after?
That we can set the correct date for May 27th.
So that would be.
Oh, yeah,
So is that Tuesday?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
And we need to check with Jim to see if we could move our meeting by one day next month to avoid the holiday.
Sure.
Okay. So we'll do Tuesday, the 27th then. All right.
Tuesday, what?
Tuesday, the 27th, I believe it is. All right, so that brings us to the budget. Has everybody had a chance to look over the budget that Gary sent out? Do we have questions, thoughts, comments? All right. Hearing none, does anybody want to make a motion on that? No? Okay.
To approve, yeah, you're looking for one to approve?
Yes. All right, is that Gary? Was there a second? Second. All right, Bob, any discussion of the motion to approve? All right, and all in favor?
Aye.
And opposed? All right, and that budget does include also the verbiage on there about making the request to the county for funding on that. So we'll follow through on that. And down to our committee reports, Mr. Gerard.
Nothing to report.
Nothing from traffic and circulation, all right. Land use committee's been slow, but we do have a couple of projects that have come in, so we will have something next month coming before us. To the committee. Website, social media still continues to gain a little bit of traction. Treasurer's report, nothing to add? No. Audit committee, anything to report? Yep.
No.
No, okay. And our Nipomo Community Plan Update Committee, I don't remember who was the chair for that. I had 4 names down as being on that committee, but I don't remember, yeah, who was going to be chairing, but nothing yet, obviously. I don't know, but I will forward that contact info to you, Claire, so you'll have our committee persons for that. And our next meeting, as stated, will be Tuesday, the 27th.
I'd just like to remind everybody that we are on Facebook at South County Advisory Council, and we are also on Instagram at SCAC Slow, and we'll be putting updates on our Instagram and our Facebook, so look for any updates on there. And then we also share it to Jimmy Paulding's page on Facebook, and then he forwards that message out as well.
Yeah, and I always like to say thank you for everyone for coming, because, little by little, getting more people, and that's what we want to keep going, so, yay. Tell your friends to come. Sometimes the meetings are short and simple like this was, I think it's kind of dramatic. We had earlier this year, so, depending on whatever you like, we'll find something for you. And we're adjourned. Thank you all.
Thanks for your consideration.
Short. I know. It was a pretty short.